Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to the newest episode of the Ringing the Bell podcast. This week, we're bringing you a very special guest as we welcome in Belle soccer junior, Layne Ridderman. How are you today, Layne?
I'm good. How are you, Taylor?
I'm doing great. So, Layne, you have a very interesting story that, especially for this week, we really want to highlight. In the winter of 2024, you were diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yep.
Can you kind of just give us a bit more information about the process that you went through about finding out about that and just kind of what you went through?
Yeah, so I started at St. Mary's my freshman year after graduating from high school in 2023. So fall of 2023, played soccer, had a great time, felt really good, was happy to be on the team and everything was going really smoothly. I was always really tired, just didn't feel very well a lot, but that's like the normal thing I expected, having a really full schedule and just being around so many people, you get sick and that kind of stuff happens. But I had a tiny lump in my armpit and I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't have any crazy symptoms, so I went to just like the normal dermatologist and, you know, other nurses and stuff like that, and they're like, oh no, you're probably fine. So I was like, great, like I'm 18 years old, like I'm just gonna keep going around doing whatever I want all the time. So finished up the fall semester, went home for the winter, and my mom made me go to an internal medicine doctor and was like, this is not normal, like, you know, gotta go get this taken care of. And luckily, like, she ordered so many tests, blood, scan, all that kind of stuff, and that just revealed that I had masses growing all over my body, all that kind of stuff. So it was like, they were like, there's nothing else that this could be, so like, we're gonna have to take action, you're not gonna go back to school for the spring. And I was just kind of obviously taken aback because I would never expect that. Like I said, I was 18 years old, freshly 18, so just never would have thought this would be, you know, on my radar. So took all the necessary steps, started treatment in February, and then like took a couple classes, did all that kind of thing, and then got through it by the very end of July in 2024. So that was 6 months of treatment. 12 treatments, just like all of the rounds, all of the scans, every single thing that comes with that. Obviously felt pretty crappy coming back to school, but my team was more than amazing in getting me back, and all my professors and all my friends were just so ready for me to be back and just be on campus and enjoying all of the normal college things. So I'm really lucky that I got to do that and only had to miss one semester because it was like kind of perfect timing because no one wants to miss the fall, and luckily I didn't have to. So got back for fall 2024. Got on campus in like the middle of August, and then a couple days later found out I was in remission, which was really cool, but it was kind of nerve-wracking going back to school not knowing like what my status was. But ever since I got the go-ahead, I was participating in everything, and I was just really happy to be with my team and being a normal student again. So yeah, it's been all good since then. It's been a year since that, so I've been in remission for a year since August 22nd, I believe. So yeah, but that's how it's been. Just had a lot of time to rebuild and stuff, and I'm just so glad to be here.
And so with your sophomore year coming back in August of 24, how was that sort of transition coming back to not just being a full-time student again, but also getting back onto the soccer team and being with your teammates again?
Yeah, it was really hard, but like luckily, like I came down as much as I could in the spring of that was spring 2024. I came back as much as I could, participated as much as I could, just going to like, you know, all the festivities around campus if I could make it, because I'm only from Kalamazoo, which is an hour and a half away. So my parents were like, yeah, like go ahead, you know, don't get sick, but you can go visit your friends. So I got to come for like the spring game and stuff. So like all of my connections with people were still really fresh, which was really nice. We had a really good group of seniors that took me under their wing when I was here as a freshman student, but also like when I was at home, everyone was really supportive of me, so that was really fun. And then when I was at home, I took online classes, and every other week I'd work 40 hours of an internship, so I kind of was in a really good routine, because if I wasn't, things would have been a lot different coming back to school. So that made things a lot easier, just getting back into the swing of things, having homework, going to classes, exams, and then obviously like you have to travel so much for sports, just the practices and everything like that. But I kept myself in a good routine when I was at home, so coming back to school was just so sweet, and just I was ready for the challenge that it was going to bring, so I was just so excited to be back. But it's not easy to do normally being a student athlete, so it definitely did have its struggles, but my teammates and my friends and family were more than happy to support me. So
And so in your time from having to take online classes as well as doing your internship the spring of 24, how have you seen kind of that spring and summertime? How has your life changed since then all the way up until now at this point as well?
So like obviously there's so many physical issues that come with like going through such crazy treatments and just like having to recover, just like physically, mentally, emotionally, all that kind of stuff can just be really difficult. So I feel like I've just always noticed that my body's starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel better, and just being so grateful to be able to do all these things and just to be here with my teammates. And like especially just like the physical aspect, my body was so weak and beaten down that like everything that I could do when I was at home, whether I'd be walking my dog, like running a little bit, going to see my trainer, anything like that, was just like such a blessing. And now I can like really push the limits. And I just like feel so grateful for that. So like I've been in a lot different of a place. So now that I'm just like here, I can just mentally appreciate it more and just like push my body further every single day. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt this episode of Ringing the Bell, but I do have to tell you that St. Mary's Football, the shirt, is officially here and is available for purchase right now. Make sure you head down to the link in the description to purchase yours today. Help support St. Mary's Athletics, undefeated since 1844. Now let's get back to this episode of Ringing the Bell. And then you've recently started working with the Unite to Fight program and Headstrong. How have you kind of gotten involved with them and been able to kind of help support them as well as how they help support you?
Yeah, so I've obviously been very outward about like my cancer journey. It's something I kind of didn't really know what to do with because you don't want it to define you, but it's also not something I'm embarrassed of. So I post about it on social media. I've connected with a lot of other survivors, and a lot of them happen to be student athletes. So this girl that swims at Florida State, she introduced me to Headstrong and got me connected with this inaugural fundraising class of cancer survivors who started their own fundraising journey, which is something that I personally did this past summer. I raised a lot of money. It was a really cool cause, and I was just so happy to meet other people that were kind of in the same position as I am, that got brought down to ground zero and then had to work their way up and just continue the grind of being a normal student athlete. So I got connected with them, had a really great fundraising experience. And then at St. Mary's, we try to do a dedication game every year because I'm obviously part of Morgan's Message, for those of you that know me, but this is, I'm hoping, another thing I'm going to bring. So I was like, why not? You know, you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. I'm really passionate about Headstrong, and I also recognize the need for a cancer game. So I was like, why not do both at the same time?
Yeah. And you guys have your first cancer dedication game this Friday.
Yes.
As Belle Soccer and Headstrong are partnering together for it. What has it been like for you to see these two programs that you care so much about come together, and then what are you guys kind of expecting to come out of that event?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of my teammates were really supportive of the efforts I was doing in the summer, you know, reaching out, reposting everything that I would post, and same with the coaches and all of the staff here. They were just so glad to see that I was doing such a good thing for the community. So when the opportunity came up, it was kind of like a no-brainer. We knew we wanted to do this, and then we're hoping that a lot of the student body can come out. I know a lot of people's friends and family are planning to attend. I think it's also just like a really good opportunity to not only raise awareness, but just to raise funds, because there's so many people that can't afford all of the aspects that come with fighting cancer. So we're hoping to have a good turnout, raise awareness, raise some money, and then, you know, it's always a good social event. My family's coming. My mom's hopefully going to bring some good cookies for us. So I'm excited. I think it'll just be a really good opportunity for the students.
Yeah, perfect. Layne, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on Ringing the Bell. You have one of the most interesting stories that I've seen throughout my time in college athletics. And once again, just thank you so much for sharing that. Real quick, we're going to take a look back at this past week in Belle's athletics because, I mean, it really just seems like the Bells can't stop winning right now.
Yes.
The Bells just can't stop winning as we have another great week in Belle's athletics. Starting off, St. Mary's tennis kicked off the fall season at the Hope Tournament. Senior Evelyn Demblens-Deschands and junior Anna Gardner each took home 4 wins on the weekend, while sophomores Shannon Duty and Odessa Norton each had 3. Bells Golf continued their fall season at the Illinois Wesleyan Fall Classic, where the team would finish in 6th place. Sophomore Melanie Meyer would lead the team with a T18 finish after shooting 79-76, while senior Amanda Melling would finish T30. St. Mary's Volleyball continues to keep their undefeated season alive, as the Bells secured wins over Manchester 3-2 and Franklin 3-1 over the past week. Junior Caroline Carnes would total 32 kills across the 2 matches to lead the Bells, while junior Abby Reese added 40 assists and senior Delaney Martin would lead with 27 digs. Bells Soccer stayed undefeated with another dominant victory over Concordia Chicago 3-0. Freshman forward Mia Johnson would score all 3 goals for the Bells, securing her first collegiate hat trick. Sophomores Isabella Kradich and Danielle Escobedo would tally assists on the game. For her performance, Johnson was also named MIAA Offensive Player of the Week. St. Mary's is back in action this week starting on Wednesday as Bell's soccer travels to Anderson to take on the Ravens at 6 p.m. Bell's volleyball hits the road for 3 matches starting on Friday at Dominican before heading up to Beloit, Wisconsin on Saturday for 2 matches against Grinnell and Beloit. Bell's cross country is back in action on Saturday at the Gildodds Invitational in Warrenville, Illinois, while Bell's golf kicks off the first MIAA Jamboree on Monday in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Layne, I just want to say thank you one more time for coming on. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, this Friday, September 19th at 6 p.m., the Bells are taking on Wheaton for their cancer dedication game. Layne, do you have anything that you want to say to kind of try and get a few more people out here?
Yeah, come on out. I mean, if you know me, it's a really personal topic to me, and I think it impacts more people than you'd think, sadly, but it's just the case. And, you know, we got to raise awareness, raise some money, and just have a great time because, like Taylor said, we just can't stop winning. So we're going to take it home this Friday, and we can't wait to see you there.
Make sure you guys check out the link in the description down below if you want to support or donate to Headstrong. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to the Ringing the Bell podcast, and make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode as well. And make sure to follow us on all social media platforms to stay up to date with St. Mary's Athletics. Have a great day, everyone.